I've had this idea for a while now, but I wasn't really sure how to make it work visually, and I asked on Twitter for screen recording ideas so I could use the Tailmaker to do this, and Elton Bormies on Twitter suggested OBS. I've got it working. Hopefully this video won't fucking explode when I try and export it. So here's the premise. Liam, formerly of Super Best Friends Play, did this video, well, 2 videos, where he got, one was Your Video Games, one was I think Super Bunny Hop, and he had them go through the Smash 4 roster and cut about half the characters, you know, really whittle it down to like the bare essentials, what you really need. And I thought that'd be a really fun thing to do with Mortal Kombat. The idea being MK12 comes out and it's Armageddon 2, everyone's back, all the warriors, everyone is here, and as was going to be the case with the original Armageddon before they just did the god-awful reboot, a bunch of characters are going to die forever. So I have to pick here half the characters to die forever, never come back outside of adaptations and, you know, adventure spin-offs, like if they did one set during the invasion about Stryker, something like that. Other than that, these characters are gone forever and will never return going forward in the timeline. So as you can see here, I've got Keep, TBA for one I'm a bit unsure of, and then Erase Forever. I have to cut half these characters. I'm Thanos in this bitch. So let's begin by talking about a character that matters, a character who really needs to be discussed, and that is Suhao. The man, the meme, the legend. A lot of people really want Suhao to come back, and I don't really know why. I think it's just because people shat on him for so long. Like, he was the least popular character from 2002 till I think now. Well, not exactly now, because people are starting to rally behind him, because everyone loves an underdog. And I think you could do some decent stuff with Suhao. You know, he could have this cool rivalry with Kano. I'm thinking about discussing that in a future video. I'll put him here for now, because there is potential with him, but he's not really all that vital. I suppose we should get some of the obvious ones out of the way. You know, you gotta have this dude, you gotta have this dude, you gotta have this dude. Then where is he now? This dude can go in the trap. Nah, I'm kidding. You have to have Scorpion. Although ideally he would be scaled back a bit because he's not really a leading man, that Scorpion guy. I think, honestly, he gets way too much of a push. I get that he's the face of the franchise and the company, but it's fucking obnoxious. Ed, stop. Okay? I'm telling you this as your friend. Stop. Katana needs to stick around. Johnny Cage. No. I'll hold off on Jax for now, because, you know, if this was going from the perspective of what characters would stick around in like the reboot, Jax would have to come back. But as far as just going forward from now, I don't necessarily know. Good old Bihan, because there is a lot you can do with him when he's not talking like a 14-year-old edgelord on Reddit. And of course you have to have these characters. They won't necessarily all stick around as playable characters. I mean, Sonya and Johnny would most likely just retire, come back every now and then in supporting roles, because I think Cassie's kind of got it covered, which is good, because Cassie's actually a pretty good character, you know, now. I mean, I didn't like her in MKX. It was the mix of the awful hairstyle and the god-awful dialogue shared in the story mode, but ironically, by making her more generic, they've made her less frustrating and less of an annoying twat. Okay, let's pick out a character that can go. Ferritor. I can't stand Ferritor. There's nothing to him, and I think part of that is because we didn't get to play as them in the story in MKX, and this is a huge issue that faces characters like Erin Black too. We don't really get a feel for what they can do, and I guess the devs realised that with, you know, because they brought back Erin Black, but not Ferritor. Ferritor is just gone, so fuck them. Jarek, I don't know, there's not really anything you can do with Jarek, I don't think. I mean, when they brought him back in Armageddon, this whole thing was, I'm just going to copy everyone else's abilities. Great. I think we're fine losing Cobra and Kira as well, because Cobra's just like some weird Ken Masters lookalike, and then you got Kira, who... It's a weird thing, because Kira was almost designed like Cassie, in a way, because the moveset was basically a mix of Sonya and Kano, which is an odd direction to go. I would say... damn. I'm not sure with Shinnok, because it's impossible to take him seriously at this point, because MK11 is basically about his mum coming down to the park with a flip-flop to threaten all the kids who picked on him. So it's hard to take him seriously as a threat at this point. Sindel has to come back because she's awesome. There's so much you can do with her. Serena, I think at this point it's just going to be all the characters who've had wasted potential episodes are going to be on the comeback list. Good old Ermac here. Kung Lao, of course. God, where is he now? Well, she, rather. Melina. I said he because I forgot who I was thinking about. I'm sorry, Jackie fans, but she's got nothing going for her. She's just girl Jax. No, Cassie's at least an amalgamation of two characters. Jin has his own unique style. His only real similarity to Lao is that his primary weapon is a ranged weapon. Yeah, boy, Takeda. I refuse to call him Takeda or Takeda. Fuck you. The actual Japanese word is Takeda. Shut the fuck up, you a-holes. He has a completely unique moveset too. But Jackie's got nothing going for her. Even though they gave her a bunch of kick moves, they didn't make her a kickboxer. That's the least they could have done, make her a fucking kickboxer. Are you mental? What's wrong with you? Mocap's a meme. I say the only reason to bring Mocap back at this point would be if they actually got the guy he's based on from Midway to have his face scanned into the game and do the voice acting. Then again, since he's probably not a professional actor, it might end up like that new Sub-Zero skin that they brought out and everyone's just dunking on the guy. Okay, it's fine to dunk on the guy, but just keep in mind, don't at him and go, you're a shit actor. Don't do that, guys. That's harsh. I mean, you guys didn't do this shit when fucking Ronda Rousey was cast as Sonya and did a god-awful job. You know, and she's the canonical version of Sonya. Show some fucking consistency, guys. Ooh. Goro. This is something that needs to be discussed, so I'll just move him down here. Bring with him Kintaro and Shiva. See, this is the dilemma I face. 3 Shokans, bit much. If you're going to cut half the roster, you're going to need to trim the fat here with the Shokans. But the issue is, well, Goro is the original. Therefore, he is the default, the basic one. The others are designed to be different in certain ways. Like, Kintaro is a different subspecies of Shokan. He's a Tigra instead of whatever the dragon type is called, I forget. Whereas Shiva is the dragon type, but she's also female. So I'd say you have to cut one of the Shokans. Now the question is, who do you cut? If you cut Kintaro, you're losing an entire subspecies of the Shokan race. If you cut Shiva, then you're losing out on the females. And if you cut Goro, well, he's the OG. He kind of has to be there, you know? So it's tricky. And that's kind of one of the dilemmas here. It's really what makes this kind of thing so interesting to do. What do you do with these characters? So I'll save them for now. Think about it as I go. I would say the 2 chameleons. Gotta go, boy. Because the male chameleon, we never knew what his deal was. He may be a Saurian, he may not. The female one is absolutely confirmed to be one. We know that for a fact. And so she can be used as part of this revival of the Saurians subplot that's been kind of Reptile's deal for years and has never gone anywhere. It'll just be, in his ending, he'll get the power to save his race. And that's kind of it. So I think those 2 can stick around if we advance the plot line. You can probably just cut Reptile and create his and Chameleon's child and advance with that character. Baraka, my boy, he has to stick around. Oh, don't know why it took me so long to get rid of that bitch. Fuck her. All she does is come along and just murder major characters and get away with it. Like, how bonkers is that she killed the face of the company and then just scuttled away and got away with it? How do you get away with that? That's not on. Ooh, okay, let's see, where is he? Here we have the 3 guys from the Order Realm. And I'll find Havoc here, put him there. Because these 4 characters have one big story about the Order Realm and its evil dictatorship. Where you got the resistance against him. You got Dairu, who has the most going for him because he's a former member of the Seiden Guard, who is now a mercenary working for Darius against his old friend Hotaru. But if you're trimming the fat, he might have to go. I'm going to keep these 3 because I do want the Order and Chaos realms to be explored. It's important to do that. It's important to expand the MK universe. It's one of the reasons why Deception is still my favourite, because it did this huge expansion of the MK setting and the lore. Remember, in Deception, there were 6 major realms. But now, in the Netherrealm era, there are 3. Earthrealm, Netherrealm, and Outworld, because Udeni never got freed, and we never venture into Order and Chaos realms outside of Havoc showing up in the comic and just kind of being this weird asshole. Let's see. I would... It's tough, honestly, with Motaro, because, again, it's not him as a character, it's what he represents. He represents the Shokan falling out of favour with Shao Kahn, which didn't happen in the new timeline for some reason, even though they failed just as spectacularly. And, of course, he is the representative of an entire race. Of course, there's always a possibility that if you cut Motaro, you can introduce a new centaur. Then again, NetherRealm is at the point where they're just like, well, you know, it's too hard to animate a horse in a video game, even though they did it in stop motion in 1995. I'll put him here for now. He's on the lower end of the TBA. He's probably going to get cut, let's be honest. I'm going to cut Garrus because he has nothing going for him. I'll keep Cetrion, though, because there was a lot they could have done with that character. It's just they made her just completely subservient to her mother, and that she didn't really have anything to do there. Lee May... I like her, but she doesn't really add anything to the set. And that's one of the big things is, what does the character add to the story? If they don't have anything particularly interesting going for them as a character, like Motaro, there's still the potential of what they can add to the setting, even if just by representing a single race and what that race can be used for in the story. I like Kenshi, but ever since he lost his lone wolf tendencies in the new timeline, he's just had no personality. Because his whole thing was, I'm going to go off, I'm going to work the special forces just to go and get revenge on Shang Tsung. That was his deal, originally. But then they just fucked it all up. I put Taven and Dagon here. In theory, their story could be played out in Armageddon 2, as it were. And then that's it. You don't really need to bring them back. Okay, Dagon can go. He can maybe come back as like a skin for Taven at best, but he's not really that important. They never did anything with Meat. I guess he can go, because I'm getting to the point now where I need to start catching up with the cuts. Some of these are going to be deep cuts. You have to get rid of them. I realise now that by Jackson Jackie, if I cut Jackie, then that means I can't cut Jax, because he would have to carry on with that with the Briggs legacy. We'll see. Let's just gather up the cyborgs. Where is Smoke? There we go. So that whole Triborg thing didn't go anywhere, did it? You could do a lot with Triborg, so I'm going to say I would cut Sector and maybe keep Triborg instead. Because I kind of view Triborg as being like Sector's legacy, possibly with his mind being based on Sector. There's stuff you can do with him. And it's kind of the reason why the Cyrax episode of Wasted Potential might become a Cyber Initiative one, depending on how it goes. I will cut... I'm starting to wonder if it might have been better to approach this a different way and maybe just what they should do with the characters in the reboot. I'll start it this way now. Reiko can go. He doesn't really add anything to the story. And you might look at some of these characters like Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung and I think, well, they're iconic characters. They should stick around. But again, this is the matter of what do you do with them from this point on. That probably surprises quite a few. You might think we'll just get rid of Quan Chi altogether. Quan Chi can do quite some good for the story as long as he's not being crammed down our throats. So, I'll put him on there for now. I like Nightwolf, but he doesn't really contribute anything to the story. You could say, well, he has his the Matoka stuff with his tribe. But does anyone really care? Is his tribe all that important? Not really. In the grand scheme of things, they don't really contribute to the overarching story. Blaze... Well, looking at this from the perspective of it being Armageddon and Armageddon 2, Blaze's story is done with Armageddon, so you don't need to bring him back. Some of these I look at and think, well, you could do something with Scarlett, you could do something with Stryker, but at the same time, it's a matter of they don't do anything with them anyway. Moloch and Dramin. If you want to keep at least one Oni around, I think Dramin has a more interesting look. And in terms of gameplay, he's not just like a big meathead. So I'll keep Dramin as the Oni, but get rid of Moloch. Then I'll keep Ashura, because you can do quite a lot with Ashura, particularly with Serena, as I've outlined in Wasted Potential. A lot of this is going to tie back to stuff I've got into in Wasted Potential. We don't need Movado, honestly. I don't think you even need another member of the Red Dragon. The Red Dragon could just be taken down for good with the death of all its members. Then it's a matter of what you do with Suhao. He could go strike out on his own or try and rebuild the Red Dragon, kind of like Cabal with the Black Dragon in Deception. Frost is a maybe. Jade is a maybe, because I really like Jade. I don't know, I've not put Jackson as a maybe yet. Nitara represents the vampire people, so you need to keep her around. I know a lot of people like Rain, but I just don't think there's anything you can really do with Rain at this point, honestly. It doesn't really contribute to the story. I will put Kano as a maybe. Because... No, actually, no. I like Kano, don't get me wrong, but when you actually go back over his whole arc, what has he actually accomplished in the whole series? He's the reason Sony was on the island in MK1. He helped provide weapons to Shao Kahn's armies at MK3, which they don't even use in 2011. Like, when you actually see the invasion, they're being fired upon, but they're not carrying guns themselves. And then, oh, he's the reason why the heroes are able to find out where Melina's camp is in MK12. No, He doesn't really contribute anything. I like Kano, but it's fine to cut him. I'd say Kambal can stick around and reform the Black Dragon. Instead of just trying to rebuild it like he was in Deception and keep them as an evil force, he could try and reform them the way Sub-Zero did with Lin Kuei. I feel like that makes sense. Striker, I guess, can go. I like him in 2011, but they've just squandered him ever since. Kai and Fujin. There is a lot you can do with these two, so I'm going to keep them around. Erin Black. Erin Black. Maybe. Tremor. Fine to get rid of him. I mean, he could be one of the characters who's part of like the reformed Black Dragon, but he doesn't have a lot going for him. He's just like a big stone man. I suppose in theory he could like reform and become like the new god of Earth. Although they just raise the question of whether the other Earthrealm gods died in the new timeline, because they're never mentioned, because they were supposed to die in Shinnok's return. I'll keep Cyrax around. Smoke. Put him as a maybe. Triborg is a... I'll keep him for now. Damn. Onaga can go, I'd say. Don't really need to keep Boride Show anymore. I'd say Shujink. Maybe. I'm gonna say get rid, because his bit's kind of done, plus he's a complete joke at this point. There's really no point keeping Khan around, because he's not special anymore. He's not the big bad Emperor of Outworld, he's just some guy. I really like Shang Tsung, so I'm gonna put him on the list to keep. And we really don't need to keep Kotal around. Even aside from the whole Katana Khan thing, which really should be Katana Khanum, by the way, Kotal's never really offered anything new to the story. Especially considering the fact that when they set him up in MKX as being really no better than his predecessor, they didn't follow up on that in MK11, just kind of pretended that didn't happen. Yeah, let's work with Kotal Khan, the guy who captured the future of Earthrealm and tried to side with Shinnok. Yeah, he's a good guy. No, he's too inconsistent to be worth bringing back, I'd say. Collector... Maybe just keep him relegated to the crypt, but keep him off the roster. Put Scarlett on here. Tanya. I like her stuff with Melina to the point that I've actually written 3 stories about that. And they got the Shokans. Going forward, I'm thinking what I'm going to do after this. I'm going to make a version of this where it's going from the perspective of what do you do with the reboot, which characters do you keep out of that. And from that perspective, Goro is likely to stick around and one of these to get cut. So for now, I'm going to look at this from the perspective of what do you do from where we are now. So it's pretty even at this point. I just need 5 more cuts to catch up with the keeps. Taven can... I'd say Taven can become an Elder God and then don't need to stick around anymore. Cetrion can be demoted to Lesser God and kind of have to learn to be a decent person again. We don't need Shinnok. I think from this perspective, I think as far as moving forward from here, it's best to get rid of the major villains, get rid of the final bosses, and just kind of go forward with new antagonists. I mean, we don't want to be like Dead or Alive is, you know, spinning our wheels, just rehashing the same final bosses over and over again. I mean, Dead or Alive hasn't had a new final boss since 2005. And we don't want to be that. We don't want to be just going back to Shao Kahn and Shinnok and Onaga over and over again, right? Revisiting them once, fine. Revisiting an alliance of them, fine, but we don't need to keep going back to it. Dairu, as good as he is, I think he can be cut. I like the Centaurs, but honestly, NetherRealm isn't likely to bring them back, so get rid of Motaro. I'm going to cut Kenshi and keep his son. You could do the same with Jax and Jackie. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Jackie out of Erase, have her come back, have her father die, and she takes his place. But we find some new stuff for her, like we give her some armoured greaves, just to make her feel a bit different from Jax. She could probably just take some inspiration from her husband-to-be as well. I will cut Tanya. I can kind of see her as being like Melina's lost love in a way. You know, she's gone, and Melina is not happy about that. Frost getting some kind of maybe a redemption arc, or just go more into her mindset, so that she's not just like some arsehole Tumblrite. It's kind of funny in a way that two of the characters, like two of the corrupted characters close to Sub-Zero, basically just represent like some of the worst people on the internet. Edgy 14-year-old Redditors and Tumblr feminists. We don't have like hardcore right-wingers in the game yet, other than Shao Kahn, but it's getting too political. I'm gonna stop. I'm going to drop Quan Chi. We don't really need Shujinko around anymore. Erin Black. I'm still not sure, because I do have some decent ideas with him, but he's just not interesting. They're not doing anything noteworthy with him. Scarlett, sure, she can stick around. So these 4 characters. It's not necessarily like 2 of these are going to stay, 2 are going to go. I'll do that for now, but then I'll just go back over the ones I've decided and see if I've got any second thoughts on any of them. Anyone else noticed that Setron kind of looks like she has chubby cheeks? Maybe this render's stretched, but kind of how she looks to me. I don't know. God, I really like Jade, but I don't. Does she really offer much more to the story? Not really. That's the thing, you do want to prune the roster a bit. You don't want to keep too many classic characters around. You want to keep some of the new ones around instead. I'll keep Su Hao, Reformer of the Red Dragon, or Reviver of the Red Dragon, or what have you. Some new characters can join and get rid of Smoke. Sub-Zero and Smoke can reconcile before Smoke dies. So we keep our boy, we keep our hero, we keep Thunder God, Iceman, Fireman, Princess, Johnny Cage. I mean, because Johnny Cage is just the best thing they've got going for him at this point. If you've got the Johnny Cage announcer voice, you know how hardcore this dude is. With nicknames for every character on Character Select. That's awesome. My better half. You know, honestly, I'm looking at this. I have been looking at this from the perspective of characters to get rid of. It might be worth getting rid of Noob, honestly. Because he's kind of served his purpose at this point, especially since Sub-Zero's just written him off. You know, to the point of quoting Noob when he wrote his brother off in 2011. Because that's clever. Keep Cassie, keep Sindel. I mean, Sindel's one of those characters that you could cut. Mainly, I just wanted to get redemption. Tell you what. I'll let Sindel die in Armageddon and save Nightwolf. I'll do that. Serena, stick around, get to do something involving Bihan. Ermac, bring him back. Like, even if he doesn't get overtaken by Jared, you can at least like acknowledge that fact in the story, which would fundamentally change his relationship with Kitana. Kung Lao, stick around, because I'm sick of this idea of Kung Lao being like Liu Kang's number 2. No, he's like the Luigi to Liu Kang's Mario. Like, no, what's wrong with you? Melina, obviously keep her around because she's my favourite character. Jin, he can have his... No, he can't have a conversation with Revenant Lao since Revenant Lao isn't around anymore. Well, shit. It's fine. He offers something different. He has his archer style. Reptile and his broodmate, according to the MKX mobile game. Keep Baraka. You could probably cut Baraka and keep Melina around as like the leader of the Tarkatans. But if I did that, I'd have to pick another character to take his place. So I'll just move him down here back to TBA. Order and Chaos Realms, keep them around. Because that stuff hasn't been resolved yet, so that can actually get some focus. Cetron, there is potential with her. Keeping Oni around. Ashura has her whole story going on. They've got the representative of an entire realm, Vaeternus. I felt the idea of just restoring all the other realms would be a cool direction to go. Like in this Armageddon story, all the realms that have been merged into Outworld are released by Kitana once she figures out how to do that. And that way you can have some cool locales. Like, because they established this realm for the vampire people in Deadly Alliance. It got separated from Outworld, and we never got to go there. Because if there's ever another MK action game, it would be like a Shadow of Mordor type game by WB Montreal, using the Arkham Shadow of War gameplay. And you'd have a bunch of like open worlds based on different realms. So having a realm for the vampire people and one for the Saurians makes sense, you know? Keep Cabal around. Fujin and Kai. Their potential as successors to these two is immense. Keep these two cyborg dudes around. Triborg is Cyrax's rival. He is the living embodiment of Sector's will after Sector's death. Cyrax is saved by Sub-Zero because for some reason he's the one person Sub-Zero is able to save. Not his best friend, not his brother, not his student, a professional work colleague at best. Shang Tsung, because he's the man, especially if we keep his film actor around. Goro's gone, but we still have representatives representing the whole Shokan race. Keep these two around. She gets something new going for her. He's fine as he is. Focus on her actual personality. Make her a decent character, actually, instead of just being a shit version of Virgil. Scarlett's alright, I guess, though I think she should have a deeper connection to Melina, since they're both from the Flesh Pits. Like, Scarlett is more Melina's sister than Kitana is, when you really think about it. Keep this dude around because he represents a whole new species. That's fine. Yeah, I think that's a good selection of characters to keep around. Get rid of Ferritor because you don't need them at all. These kind of bland red Black Dragon members. I would ultimately prefer to bring back everyone and like try and reinvent them. And that's what I would do, honestly, if I was in charge of an Armageddon 2. These characters would be reinvented. I'd do something completely new with them. Not too different that they feel like completely different characters, but like how they kept trying with Stryker, they should get second chances. Same with Movado as well. But honestly, just going off how they are currently, they would probably get the axe. Mocap, Chameleon, Burly characters, Devorah. She's not even a character, really. She's just a tool, a narrative tool to kill off some characters. Garrus is nothing. For a man who can't die and is the ultimate enforcer of Chronica, he sure is a shit fighter. He never wins any fucking fights. Even though he can freeze people in time, he can't win. What a shit bastard. Li Mei, fine to get rid of Dagon. He dies during the story. So does Onaga and the other bosses. Rain is not that useful. Kano, he's done. We don't need to keep bringing him back. I mean, the dude's been in the last 4 games with cinematic story modes and never won a fight. Stryker, I like him, but get rid of him. Tremor, they didn't really do anything interesting with him. I think Reiko becoming a Shao Kahn fanboy was the worst thing they could have possibly done to him. I think it was way more interesting with the original fan theory that he was Shao Kahn in disguise, but then they changed that and he just likes wearing Kahn's helmet. And they didn't even make him into Kahn's doppelganger in Deadly Alliance. That's something someone suggested, and that's a way better idea for this character. You don't need Sector if you can have Triborg. I would say that in this reimagined version of Triborg, he wouldn't have Cyrax as a default one. His defaults would be Sector, Sub-Zero, and Smoke. Fuck off, Windows. I don't want to do this goddamn update. Fuck you. Not having it. Meat, they never did anything with him. Borai Cho, as a mentor for Liu Kang and Kung Lao, although originally it was just Liu Kang and he didn't train Kung Lao until a decade later. He's fine, but I mean, we never even found out what happened to him, did we? Remember, he got like blasted by Shinnok, and we didn't even see his body getting moved. He just disappeared from the scene, and then we never got confirmation of whether he lived or died. That was dumb. Get rid of the Khans; they are worthless at this point. Goro doesn't represent as much of the Shokan race as the other two, so we can get rid of him. We don't need Shinnok or Taven. Motaro, Dairu, get rid of him. These two have their children as their successors, so it's fine. And okay, I'm gonna cut Baraka. and have Melina as the primary Tarkatan. I mean, that can be a good direction to take Melina's character. She is now embracing her Tarkatan heritage more than anything. And so when we see her, she'd be like dressed more like a Tarkatan, maybe even having a shaved head like the female Tarkatan we see in the game. Proudly and openly having her mouth exposed. And if she's going to be more tribal looking, like wearing less clothing, people have no right to complain because it makes sense with the character. Shut the fuck up. So I'm going to bring back one of these for... Since we've got rid of Baraka, I can have the cowboy. We don't have a gunfighter at the minute. Jade. I like Jade, but she doesn't really add as much in terms of gameplay or story. And I love Sindel. She's my second favourite character, but she can get her redemption in Armageddon 2, and then I don't think we really need to do anything else with her. And yeah, you can give her a bit where like a portal opens and her shitty MK12 version comes through the portal, like, haha, I'm the evil Sindel, and the real Sindel just fucking snaps her neck and that's it. That's all we really need, honestly. Okay, I'll keep Erin just because he has interesting gameplay. I mean, all Smoke has for gameplay is teleports, which isn't great. I'd rather have something other than just fucking teleports. But so this is my take. This is the characters I would keep for an MK12. I think that's a decent selection of characters here. And yeah, I think I will make an alternate version of this that goes from the perspective of which characters would I keep and cut for a reboot, a new continuity, which characters would not show up at all. Who would not come back in any way, shape or form? Because that's different, because here it's from the perspective of, well, they've done their bit, it's fine to get rid of them. But then it's a case of, in this new version, that character will never exist. They will not get a story at all. And that, I think, is even harder to do. So tune in next time for that. Hopefully the recording of this won't explode and die and disappear. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you'd like to see more stuff like this. I'm not going to do these tier list videos like, these characters are the best, these are the worst. Even though people have done ones for the best and worst Mortal Kombat games. We'll see if there's anything more like this I can do with OBS, because this was kind of fun. It's a quick and easy video to get out. That's not just a vlog or like just like a 2 minutes like joke thing. So let me know what you guys think, and tune in for the next one.